What's up YouTube, CharminEXSoft here, coming at you guys another Friday the 13th the game video, and today I want to tell you more of some of the newer things that you may or may not have heard about recently, as my video is a bit late and I apologize for that. So in this video I will be compiling all of the new Jason information into one video to get everyone caught up to date. So today we're going to be talking more about throwing knives, traps, new fence mechanics, and Jason's new ability called Stalk. So first up, throwing knives or darts, whichever you call them. It's our shortest topic to talk about today, so we're going to start with that. But on April 7th, Wes Keltner, one of the game's co-creators, tweeted out this picture commenting that Randy Greenback is going to get wrecked in the playtest that they were having that day. Now, what we can learn from this picture, if you look closely, is two things. One, Jason is reaching out to grab a throwing dart, signifying that he can replenish his stock of them, and two, this is not Part 6 Jason. In fact, this Jason is from Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, letting us know for sure that throwing darts are not purely restricted to Jason 6 for anyone who still thought that they were. Now, also, the question was asked on Twitter, if Jason throws a dart and he misses, does that mean he can retrieve them? And the answer is no. As Wes Keltner responded saying, once they are thrown, they are gone, but there are others placed around the map if you look hard, basically telling and showing us that counselors are not the only ones that will be searching for items, but Jason players will be as well if they so choose to acquire more darts and slow people down. And again, this is one of those randomly placed darts, which gives us an idea of what to look for when the game releases. Alright, so let's go ahead and start talking about traps now. So a lot of people were speculating for some time now that Jason could use traps because of the red symbol in the bottom corner of the screen in some of the screenshots that Gun Media had been sharing. And for those people who thought that, you are 100% correct. Wes Keltner confirmed this by giving Slash and Cast podcast on YouTube the exclusive reveal to this information on April 3rd, which I will post a link for their channel and video down in my description box below, and I highly recommend you check them out because they are a very good horror podcast, which I also subscribe to as well. Now on April 4th, Wes Keltner went on to post even more information on this topic on the F13 forums, which I'll also provide a link for, and not only did he give us more info, but he also posted some pictures of what traps will look like to the counselors as seen by this pile of leaves on the ground. Wes also went on to answer a lot of different questions here to the community, letting us know that Jason's traps are not the same as counselor traps, that because Jason spent a long time in the woods alone, honing his skills as a hunter-killer, that he's created these traps from items in the woods like old pieces of wood, rusty nails, spikes, and possibly even old bed springs from tossed mattresses to slam the trap shut. He then goes on to tell us that each Jason will have a different number of traps. For example, Jason from Part 2 might have 5, where Jason from Part 8 might only have 3. He also says that the Jason traps will do slightly more damage and take slightly longer to break free from than the counselor traps, but Jason is also restricted by where he can place them, limiting him to only exterior areas for the most part, so he cannot set them inside cabins, buildings, or underwater or on docks. He can only place them on ground textures. Now once the counselor steps on a trap, the Jason player will hear a trap sound snapping shut, kind of like the phone sound that we had in the beta when a player missed their skill check, and the Jason player will be able to see the traps he set on his mini map and also on his morph map, showing the trap has gone off because it will be flashing. So if you get caught in one of those traps, you can bet that Jason's on the way, so you better be prepared to run once you break free. Now I'm sure a lot of you out there are already thinking that this is way too OP, which Gunbeat and Ilphonic have already thought about making his traps considered consumables, so they can't be moved or reset once they're placed or triggered, and Jason cannot find more of them to replenish his overall stock. So what he has to work with is strictly what he has, so he has to kind of think about them and place them wisely, because once he uses them all, he doesn't get any more. Another cool thing that Gunbeat and Ilphonic are working on is a way to disarm them. Now, they have not implemented this yet and don't plan to do it right away, so it doesn't affect their current certification process. But if they add it, it will allow counselors to attempt to disarm Jason's trap by using a pocket knife, provided that you have found one in the match, giving you another possible use for the pocket knife as well. Now, it's said that you will only be able to do this from the kneeling position, as you will not see the prop to disarm traps while standing, walking, or running, and it's also important to note that if you decide to disarm one of these traps, provided you actually notice it on the ground, doing so will actually break your knife, consuming it, and you'll no longer have it as that get out of jail free card from Jason's grasp. You'll have to go find another one if you want one for that purpose. So the choice is yours really. Do you take one for the team, step in the trap, not tell someone it's there and let them step in it for you, consume your knife and disarm it, or just forget about it entirely and just go another way to travel wherever you're trying to go? Now again, this disarming method is not set in stone, but it is an idea that they're working on, hoping to implement it as a day one patch, if in fact they implement it at all, as you can read in this article, which I provided a link for down in my description box below for you. But now let's talk about fences, which is the newest piece of information released on April 15th by Wes in the forums. And yes, of course, I'll be providing a link for that down in my description box below, as well as Wes lets us know that in the game, Jason will be able to break fences by swinging his weapon, helping prevent people from looping around them, which was kind of a problem here and there in the beta. Now more on that, he says counselors can't break them down with their weapons as they're only destructible by Jason, and the car as well cannot break them either, which he says is kind of weird, and that they're looking to maybe patch that after the game's launch. Now the important thing to note about this mechanic is that in order for Jason to break a fence, it will require a swing, which the swing animation is not instant, he states. If you're chasing a counselor and they try to use a breakable fence to keep you two apart, you still have to swing, break, and then recover from said swing. So it's not like you can run towards the fence, swing, and then keep running. He also says that not every fence in the game is breakable, meaning that if a fence is tall, roughly shoulder height, then it cannot be broken. But the smaller knee to waist high fences can be broken, as they can't make every fence breakable due to performance physics, but of course a solid throwing knife to the face can always fix those other looping issues around the tall ones. Now when it comes to rage in fences, Wes said that currently Jason cannot rage through them like he can doors, that he will still have to swing his weapon because fences and doors are two separate systems, and they really don't want to junk up the player HUD with prompts to rage through a fence every single time you get near one. So because of this, they are considering, however, to allow Jason to just simply walk through them as the unstoppable force that he is when he reaches his rage ability with no prompt needed, which I personally think sounds like a great idea, but that would not happen until post-launch, as they want us to try out the current system they have first and see how it all plays out. And now for our last topic, Jason's new ability called Stalk, which I'm sure most of you remember me asking Ronnie Hobbs about when I noticed there was a different ability where rage used to be during the PAX South panel, which I personally attended. Now, a few weeks ago, they finally revealed to us what that ability was, also explaining a lot of the details about it. Wes tells us in the forums that Stalk allows the Jason player to both mute the music counselors hear when Jason is near and boost Jason's hearing. So when the ability is active, Jason's screen becomes more blue in color, and he will immediately hear audio differences, dropping almost all of the ambient sound effects, allowing Jason to only hear and pick up the counselor's sound cues that matter, like footsteps, opening drawers, doors, windows, and more. And what's really cool about this ability is that it's designed to make more jump scare moments like we see in the films, as described by Wes, saying that you can find, like, say, a few counselors barricaded in a cabin and then break a few windows, making them all nervous, and then you can kind of get out of sight and activate Stalk, making them think that you've left because they don't hear the music anymore, so they'll go ahead and attempt to climb out of a window or something, but little do they know you're standing right there outside that window ready to grab and kill them. He also describes another way that you can use the ability, planning ahead using a building you know that everyone's going to be going to, morphing to it right away, going inside, say standing in a corner and activating Stalk, and then just waiting there for a counselor to enter the cabin, barricading the door, and then locking themselves inside, which all that's going to happen is they're going to turn around and then they're going to see Jason standing there screaming for fear. I mean, this is going to be awesome. This ability really makes me happy just to think of all the different crazy scares that you can make with this thing. I mean, that's what you call an oh shit moment right there. Now, as for other details about Stalk, Wes tells us that Stalk is the last ability that we will unlock before Rage in a match, as now, like I've said before, they decided to make Rage automatically activate when we reach that point. Now, once Stalk is activated, Jason can choose to cancel it like they can kind of with the Sense ability, and if a counselor sees him while Stalk is activated, then it will instantly deactivate, triggering the music again. Wes also tells us that the ability can last for up to 3 minutes if you're not moving, stating that moving while Stalk is engaged dramatically reduces this time period. So he says if you hit Stalk then start walking, it will burn out in about 20 seconds. So keep that in mind, because that's a big burnout when you think about just moving. 20 seconds is a really short time compared to 3 minutes. Then lastly, Wes goes on to clarify that Jason cannot hear everyone on the map when the ability is activated, that in fact, yes, his hearing is increased, and shows us a small mock-up demonstrating the potential hearing range of this ability when it is active. Anyway guys, sorry for the delays on some of this information, as I've been very busy lately, but I'm still here bringing you guys all of the information you wanted about Friday the 13th the game and more. And you know, you can always check me out on Twitter, as I'll be retweeting some of this information like as soon as I hear about it, the second it's announced, for all of you hardcore people, to help keep everyone up to date. So don't be afraid to go ahead and follow me on Twitter if you want. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it helped you out, and if it did, please feel free to go ahead and slap that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Charmin today. And as I said, you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and comment below and follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with all my YouTube videos. I'm CharminEXSoft, and as always, thanks for watching, and y'all come back now, you hear?